Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Half and Half podcast. Today I have with me my best friend, one of my closest friends, confidant, and more like a sister to me, Sumera. Sumera Chaudhry. She is a powerhouse. She not only inspires and motivates me, but her kindness and compassion is infectious. Welcome, Sumera, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And you said a lot about me, and it's really nice of you thinking about me that highly. I try my best to do whatever, to be there in people's life in positivity as much as I can.
Yes, Sumera, I know you so well for so many years, for more than 12 years, but we would like to know a little bit about your early life. I know you mentioned to me that you came from a village in Punjab, in Pakistan, and your village it does not even come up in on the map, and you did not know to speak English. You like you never traveled before you came to America outside Pakistan, or that certain area, and from there you came here, and look at you now. Like, we want to know a little bit about your journey.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm from Pakistan. I belong to a town which one is really hard to even see on the global map. And that one I found out when my kids were like, Mom, we would like to see where you born, where you raised. Can you show us on the map? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we were sitting looking at it, and gosh, it was hard to find. I had to zoom a lot, and then I was like, it was barely to find. And then, Alhamdulillah, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, I come this far where I couldn't speak English. And that was my first travel by myself, like anywhere. So, yes, Alhamdulillah, that travel I took on the first time. Uh, by myself when I came to the airport, I couldn't speak English, and the gentleman at the airport, he was like, "Can I see your files?" And I was like, "What is he asking?" And I looked at him. He realized I couldn't speak. Then he had to kind of show to me. He showed me I would like to see your papers. I was like, okay. Then he was like fingerprints, and I was like, gosh, I don't know what's going on here. So then he showed me his finger. That's where I have to place it. Then same goes for the picture. And then I realized gosh, okay, that's something I have to work on if I want to survive in this country. I have to start with the basics. What's the basic was for me to learn English. So that was my mindset when I came here.
Yeah. I mean, that is so. When I heard that, because when I met you, you were already an evolved lady with kids and married, and just doing so many great things. So when you told me that you did not know a word of English, and you came here and you learned English and you worked here, and you have finished your bachelor's, and that's so inspirational. And also, you married someone who does not speak a word of Urdu, like that's your language. So how did that transition work? Like, when you got married, someone who is born and raised here, and he's a relative, right? And then you got married to him, and how did the communication, the transition, how hard it was that?
So for that, if I'll go back in my childhood, my parent, they always very supported and always told me if I'll put my mind into something, I can do it, and they always believed in me. And when we got a proposal of my husband, and they were like, okay, this is a guy, and but you would love to meet him before getting engaged, before getting married. I was like, okay, because when parents are making decision for you and they have experience, they know better. So I was like, inshallah, I would love to meet him. And when they went to Pakistan, we went to had the little get together, we sat down, we chit chat. And as I mentioned, I couldn't even speak any English, but he could speak few words of Urdu. He worked a little bit on it when I met, and I was like, okay, is it gonna work? But he was so kind. He was so supportive. I could see live my life with him, like in long run. Like yeah, it's like little hurdle, but yeah, I will overcome it. I always believe in myself. That's what I grew up with, and I was like, okay, um, that's fine. And then we got engaged. He came back, and from there, I mean, I was practicing, but still, like, it was very, very hard when you don't have anyone to talk to in English, or like back like 18, 19 years ago, we did not have a lot of access to internet. We did not have access to so many other resources and facilities like we have in these days. It's easy to learn. But at that time, it was not. It was hard, like, but I knew I could do it. I always like believe if like I can do it, So from there, I was like, we were like here and there, hello, hi, Islam, Eid Mubarak over the phone while I was waiting for my visa. So I stopped, just completed my high school at that time, and I was still waiting for my visa. And my father, he was like, "You're still waiting. You're not studying because I was planned. Okay, once I will get my visa, I will come here. I will study here. I will pursue my dream from here because as a young little girl, I had many dreams and dreams like I always like shared with my family, especially with my father, and he always told me, you know belonging to the town where people like it's really hard to get education, let alone having a big dreams and thinking about those dreams and achieving those dreams. But my father always told me like, I'm there for you, you go ahead, do it. And at that time he told me like, you want to complete your FA at that time, like 11th and 12th grade. I was like, yeah, sure, that's a great idea. But can you do it? I'm like, of course I can do it. So I had only 3 months to complete first year and second year. So my dad, he got books and they was changing a lot of syllabus around that time, but he went above and beyond. He got printouts for me, hired little tutor for my some of the subjects I was having a hard time, but he was there for me. And I studied for almost 3 months for first year and second year. But Alhamdulillah, with Allah Ta'ala's mercy, I was able to graduate. I completed my FA high school there, and then after a couple of weeks I got my visa, and then I came here by myself. As I mentioned already, when I traveled, what happened with me that made me realize, no, I have to work on this. And when I came here, of course, we got married, and then I was like, okay, sitting at home, thinking through learning, spending time with my husband to learn. And then my mother-in-law, she was like, there's a English classes, ESL classes, would you be interested in those? I was like, I would love that. And I went for that. I couldn't drive at that time, but she was dropping me off and picking me up along with my husband, so they were being very supportive as well. And I was like,
And you
okay,
need that support
yeah.
to move on, because when you're trying, trying to accomplish something so big and so hard. But as you mentioned, I would like to repeat that, because that is the main purpose of this podcast when I started out, is to inspire and motivate people, especially girls and women. Um, you know, my husband always used to say, you have to aim high, and you have to aim higher, keep aiming higher. And when people say that, the women need to break the ceiling, he always used to say that, why there should be a ceiling? Why are you putting women in a box? There should not be any ceiling, sky should be the limit. And, you know, you have to dream big and you have to aim high. Only then you can, even if you cannot reach the sky, you will come a little bit closer to the sky. But seeing you, looking at you, I think that is a lot. It's a huge inspiration and motivation to all the young girls. Maybe somebody who will be hearing this, sitting in one of the villages in rural area of Pakistan or Bangladesh, and thinking that, I want to go to United States, I want to educate myself, but how? You make the intention, believe, have faith in God, faith in yourself, and then the rest will be, it will follow. And how you have come so far. You educated yourself. I know you got your bachelor's degree, which makes me so proud. And then you have you were, so conversant, not only conversant, you were, you know, you can teach people English now. So, but your journey began from where you started your journey. It seemed almost like, will I mean, maybe many people will doubt themselves that will I be able to do it, or be scared, or just, and that will drive them away. But you did not doubt yourself. You've had faith in God, and you had faith in yourself, and you persevered, and look at where you are now. So I think perseverance and determination goes a long way, and having belief in yourself, I think that is something I would say most women lack. Not only Southeast Asian women, but I think a lot of women who are not even saying it out loud, but there's insecurity or not having faith in themselves, um, kind of like push them back. And then, as you mentioned, your dad was a motivation. My dad always used to tell us, me and my sister, because we don't have a brother, and he used to tell us that, you should be able to do everything that any guy can do. There should not be any limitation that you can do. And then again, my husband also helped me to, made that belief stronger. So from that journey from village in Pakistan, and then you traveled and you came here, and you kind of like, adjusted with the culture, and you learned English, and you also had to do a lot of adjustments because your husband was raised here, right? He was born and raised here, and then you were there. So how was initially? I know you said that he's a very kind and compassionate guy. I mean, that is the most important thing, how wonderful, like how you treat a human being, and how as a human being he is, and the rest of the things, they do matter. But then if you have mental understanding, then everything will fall in place. So how was your communication with your husband? How hard it was, or how did you kind of like get used to it or adjust after coming to US? Like, you know, um,
So yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, everything there shouldn't be any ceilings. Yes, there shouldn't be, and we should be believing in ourselves. And when we believe in ourselves, we, can achieve anything. And yes, always aim higher. Always like your dream should be like you should be scared from your dreams. Dream that big, But like coming to here, learning new culture, learning everything, like. With my husband we like we used to speak a little bit here and there, but even spending time together sitting next to each other creates a connection, creates a bond. Like sometimes people, they don't realize, they think they need the words to express themselves. Sometimes you don't need words, you don't need that, you just like just that connection, that bond. With time you do learn things, but of course, being a persistent when you want to learn something, as you said, how I was learning, that was the thing. Like I had a goal, I had to work hard, no matter how busy or easy my life was. I always made a time to sit down to read out loud, read in the mirror, and go for my classes. And those helped me a lot. And when I was talking to him, sometimes I will use those words, and he will give me gentle smile. He will repeat the same sentence with better pronunciation, with better wording, without pinpointing, hey, you said this is not supposed to be like that. He never did that. That was like when I will listen to him repeat the same sentence, I will be like, oh, okay, got it. So that gave me like a lot of strength. And they always try to push me out when I was at the restaurant. can you go get this? Can you place this order? Can you do like kind of like going to the mall, going to watch movies, and doing all those things, especially weekends. He was off on the weekend. So we used to go out, and he let me communicate with other people where I was start getting comfortable, and then during that time after ESL classes started taking a GED classes because as I mentioned I had a bigger goal, wanted to go to college, completed my degree, wanted to take that. But I had like daily goals, but along with those daily goals I had a long run goal too, like what I'm aiming after 5 years, what I'm aiming after 10 years, where do I see myself. Long term goals, yes. And I was working on daily goals, but I never forgot my long term goal. I always worked on it, and I took GED classes. And I mean, there's nothing personal, but I always try to sit with the people. They were better at speaking English. So, yeah, you can learn from that. That was my goal. So I always like try to sit with the people, even like a lot of American people, they were like taking a GED classes. GED classes are like equivalent to high school. If you couldn't complete it, you can go ahead and start from there. If you don't know, like you just came, you don't know where to start there, and then build it from there. And while in the process, like I had my first baby girl, and her name was Amina. And I still remember when we went for ultrasound, and my husband, he got the like ultrasound picture, he took it to his office and framed it and put it on his desk. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, it's just a ultrasound picture, but for him that was big. And of course for me, as we were really excited and we were waiting for it to have a child. And I was like, I can have a companion. As you said, you did not have a brother, they didn't have a sister. So when I came here, it was really hard for me to not have someone to share my life to. I mean, I had my husband, but like my brother-in-law and in-law, but like having a girl your age inside the house is different.
Plus, you
And
came from a
yeah,
different
big family,
culture.
of course.
The culture in back home in Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India, it's totally different than here. And when you come here and you try to kind of assimilate or integrate into their culture and the lifestyle over here, it takes a lot. And for you, it was, a lot more because you had to adapt a lot more. We had not only to learn the culture and the lifestyle, but also the language. And then language can be a huge barrier, but you broke all the barriers or you broke all the odds, and you evolved. And Sumera, I know that you had like, like your kids were born like consecutively, in like they are they're not very their age gaps are not that much, you have 5 kids and then they were born like 2 years apart or 3 years apart. And then you were busy, and then you're a busy mom, and then and how did you navigate that, like having, right after you come and you adjust yourself, you kind of like adapt to the culture, language and new family and everything, and then right after that you have your baby, and then you have another one, and then you have another one, so it just kind of like how overwhelming that was.
So I won't say it was overwhelming for me at that point because even before I got married, as I mentioned, I was like we were having a little bit chit chat here and there. I could understand few words. So like he because as I said, I belong to a big family. I have 4 brothers and we are 3 sisters. So when you belong to a big family and you come to the family, they're little. So it seems like out of place, like out of like, like I always wanted to have a big family. So I know a lot of people. They ask me, why did you choose to have 5 kids? Because I belong to big family, and I think big family is blessings. If you can have, go ahead. If you don't, that's your mindset. I don't have any problem with anyone, right? But like after I had Amina, for 4 years we did not have a child, and I felt like she was lonely at that time too. And I started working in daycare, in Virginia, and I used to take her with me, and like she used to go in her class. I was helping them out there. I could like spend time with her, be there, still working and doing, and after uh, some years, I got the news I'm expecting again with another child, and I was like so excited. And just because I was making a prayer, even though I have one child, I saw her playing in a playground one day, and she was playing by herself. There was like no other kid. It broke my heart so much. Like I had a big family. I was blessed to play with my cousins, with my siblings, with my friends, and she's playing by herself. It just broke me a little bit, and I made a prayer. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listened to my prayers, and He is the best planner. He knew what was the right time. Maybe those 4 years I needed that time with her, with myself, to learn more before I could, have another child. So I was like, I learned a lot from the daycare as well. And then I had my second one, and Alhamdulillah, we used to spend time. And then we moved from Virginia to Texas for. And that's the time when I met you. Yes, that's the time. So I put her in class. Then I was like, okay, where I can like start, I need friends. I need friends for her because I'm very like social person. I like to meet people, and meeting people makes me happy. That's gives me connected, right? Yes, that's how. Social butterflies. Yes, social butterflies. So like, then I was like, okay. Then I put her to the masjid school, and I saw you. I was like, oh, and then you saw me, and I was like, okay, we can be friends.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember the day when I saw you the first day, and as you mentioned before about the connection, I think connection is goes a long way. Chemistry, connection, even if you don't say words, even if you, you can be friends. You can know somebody for years, and you still don't have that connection, but you can meet somebody like in a minute, and then you build a connection. You have that connection with that chemistry with that person, and it stays lifelong. So that is absolutely true. And then I saw you how you had your the rest of after your second child, then you had your third child, and then you had your son, and then the fourth one, and then you were such a busy mom, and then running around with those little ones. But I saw you how you managed, you balanced. I mean, you worked in between, but you were managing your work life and personal life, and you did your degree. You got your degree while you were doing all these. So that was so inspiring and motivating for all the women out there. And so we're going to shift the focus a little bit. Um, and I know it's not easy to talk about it, but um, eh, we will focus the shift to managing or handling and navigating grief. And to me, I think when I talk about grief, it kind of is healing for me, especially to the people that I know. And when I talk about my husband or let people know how wonderful he is and how wonderful things he wanted to do, and he did so many great things. It makes my heart lighter. And so I want to talk about, like, you had 5 kids, and then last summer, in May 9th, you lost your the firstborn, right, daughter. And that was the tragedy. That was a tragic moment. I think tragic moment it could be in any mother's life, and it was such a huge tragedy. And then and it has been barely few months. It has not been a year as well. But alhamdulillah, I think you were navigating that in such a wonderful way. um, do you want to talk a little bit about how you were navigating that grief, and how your family and people are kind of helping you through the grief?
Yes, absolutely. And yes, it's hard to talk about. It's not easy. But as I will go back when I met you, I met a few other really great friends. You're my sister. There's like sister to me as well. And I was so happy and so blessed to have them in my life. And you always been there for me from all those years. I still remember, like, with my third one, we had a little baby shower here, and we all get together, and I always had a like a huge sport, and I like, no matter how much I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, I take it as a blessing. And they always been there for me as I was like my third child and fourth child, fifth child, as you told me, was mentioning, like I completed my bachelor. Yes, I did, while I was doing everything. And last December, I graduated, and I was so happy. And I uh, I would decide to, go show up for the ceremony. I went there, and uh, absolutely wearing my gown and having that hat and honor roll in my hand. My daughter, s- I mean, I was doing for myself, and I was doing for my kids so they can learn from it, you know. And for the people around me, they can learn, okay, you can do it after even having everything going on in your life, raising a kids, and managing life. And Amina, as her name was Amina, as you mentioned, yes, she said, like, Mom, I'm so proud of you, like, right after I got down. And she was always very, very kind, and she will, will understand you in the way, in a very unique way. And she's like, I'm so proud of you, you did such a great job, I'm like so happy. And I was laughing, and I was like, guess what, who's next who will be walking that, and she was like, I'm the oldest one, of course, me. And I was like, yes, absolutely, next will be you. And yes, then, like, we just had a dinner, and chit chatting and talking. And she had high goals in her life, and she wanted to do so many things in her life. And as she was like, she will acknowledge your emotions, she will acknowledge your strength, she will acknowledge what you're doing, and she will always, always, like, appreciate everyone. And she was, you know uh, was very, very open when it comes to expressing her emotions, how she felt about me, how she felt about the siblings, how she felt about her friends. And then um
She was very sensitive
yeah, she was very
and very
sensitive.
kind. Yeah,
Yeah, very,
absolutely.
like, I mean, like, I cannot even describe in words how kind she was. And then May 7th, we were just chit chatting, and she was at home that day. Her sister was at home. Her sister, she had a strep throat, and she was at home for some reasons. And I just went to pick up the kids, and she loved boba. So I was like, okay, Wednesday is her thing. Like, we go as a family, get the boba, or over the weekend something. But I like to spend time with my kids. Even while I was studying, I always like, my priorities are my kids, my family. Everything else is after. But yes, they are there, and I will be working on those as well. But on the May 7th, like, when I was looking forward to, after completing my bachelor, when I was like, okay, next I'm gonna do this, this, this. I will be looking for a job. I will be doing an internship. I will be doing this and that. And I will always share with her, and she will absolutely each and everything. She
She
will
was your
come.
biggest cheerleader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was my cheerleader. She was not only my daughter, she was my friend. She was like a sister to me, just because she was the oldest.
Yeah,
And
you guys are very close.
yeah, we were like, we had that very strong bond where sometimes even we did not have to say in words, we will understand.
Of course.
So I went and got a boba. I came home, and I gave it to her. I'm like, look what I got. She was like, oh, my favorite boba. I was like, yes, absolutely. So, like, just doing that, just chit chatting. She's like, Mom, I'm not feeling a little well. I'm like, how are you feeling? What's going on? She's like, I don't know. I'm just feeling a bit anxious. And she did have anxiety, and she was taking the medications. And she did have the ADHD as well. She was taking the medications and seeing a therapist. We were working through. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to kind of like give you medicine? She's like, no, 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 I'm okay. I'm not sure. Like, I said, okay, do you know what? Let's do one thing. We can go out. I'm out of gas. I need a gas. So we can go to gas station, get some gas, and you can get some fresh air. And she loved experimenting with the makeup, experimenting with her hair, experimenting, and I allowed her to do certain things so she can learn from it. We were like open-minded people, like uh, learn from your mistakes, learn from your things, do whatever you want to do. And she said, okay. She got ready. I was right there standing with her, and she went to the bathroom. She got ready, put her lipstick, made her hair while I was standing and looking at it and smiling. And one of the little string came out from here. I'm like, Amna, look at that little string. But that looks cute. I'm like, yeah, it does. But she fixed it. It looks so cute. So like, and she showed me that's my favorite lipstick. I mean, we used to like, as I mentioned, we were really close. We'll talk about everything, and then we just got out, and my husband, he knew like kids love sushi. My husband does too, so he got that one. And I'm like, did you didn't eat much lunchtime? You want to eat some sushi? She's like, yeah, I can try. And she took a bite, but like she's like, I don't feel like eating. I'm like, it's okay, don't worry, she took a little bite and she took it out. I'm like, let's go for drive. So my husband was like, okay, let's go. We can go. So my husband, me, Amina, and her third sister, she had a little. She always keep little notebooks or something to write and sketch because Amina love painting, sketching, reading, and I mean doing all those things. Uh, and Serena, she had a cat book. My daughter Amna loved cat, and even at time we had 13 cats. And now we are down to five. And before we were leaving, she was holding one of my cat, giving her kisses. Just and I was like, and he was pushing and he was a little shaky. I'm like, what's going on? I made a little video. I'm like, what happened, Chintu? So just like that. So she's just talking to him, and we left right after like 10 minutes. I was at the red light while I was driving. She was right behind me. I couldn't see her what's going on the back, but like uh, at the red light, there was a car in front of us. Me and my husband were talking about that, and I was like, "What do you think?" I looked back, and I saw her like she was having a seizure. I got really scared. I called 911 right away. I knew something is not right just because. My husband, he had very similar seizure like 2 years back when he was on ventilator and came out so it took me back uh, in those years. Like I had flashbacks. I started getting like really
So you
scared.
that um, maybe you were familiar with what was happening to her, and you called 911 immediately for you seek medical help right
Yes,
away.
right
Yeah, yeah,
away,
yeah,
right away.
yeah.
Yeah, so like I had to just because it was not something she never had a seizure. Neither of my husband had that kind of condition. I saw him, so I could like see like where it's going. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala puts in your heart, puts in you, you kind of like out of nowhere, you just get those instincts like where you need to do something.
Mhm.
And I called 911. And while I was on the call, of course, they were trying to, because she was sitting on the chair. And I just parked right in the front because I was like, there's nothing I can do. I don't want to block the traffic. I just like right on the side of we're on the right side anyway. So right there, I just parked. By the time the ambulance came, I waved my hands while my husband were trying to take her out. And ambulance came, they took her right away. And my husband, he went with them. Of course, but I did not have a gas. That's why we were out. I had to stop by. I was like, okay, you guys go. I had my little one. Went stopped by the gas station. I got the gas, got the address from the paramedics. Like, where are you guys taking her? So I drove there. We went there, and they made me sit in the waiting room while they were like providing her first aid, whatever she
Right.
needed. So then they called me inside. I saw her unconscious. She was unconscious in the car. I saw her unconscious. She didn't look good. My husband was like, you don't have to look. Everything is fine. But I have been through couple of hospital visits with my father, with my husband, with the, so I
And
could
always
kind of,
hospital
yeah.
with you makes you anxious, and I would not want you to talk about that because it makes you, it's not something very pleasant, or it's very upsetting and sad to talk about, because you faced like in ICU when you saw your daughter fighting between life and death, in such critical condition. You can only hope, and you feel very helpless, and at that time, at that moment, you realize that we are so helpless. We have nothing other than God, other than Allah. We have nobody to turn to, because you can be the richest person on the earth, and you can have all the resources in the world, but if your time is up, and if you have to surrender to whatever is decreed and whatever Allah decides. And as you mentioned, I also, when I was in the hospital with my husband at the very last days, he was there for a month, and I saw those moments. I know what I went through, but I know the reason that I don't want you to talk about it, because I would not want to talk about it in public or to people, because those are very private moments, and um, those you don't you remember them, you will remember them till the end of your life, but those are not pleasant memories. Those are the people you love the most, and you want to hold on to them. You want them as long as you live, or more, for you. If everyone expects to, like, the child to live much longer than the parent. And I wished always that, I die before my husband, but we can only wish, right? It is all up to Allah. He decides, and he is the decision maker. It's up to him, and that's the time you feel you're so helpless.
Yes, absolutely. You do. You do feel like there's you wish you want to do so many things, but
Your
it's
hands are tied.
you cannot. Not
Hmm.
even try. I was like just like it's nothing. You can
There's nothing to do, and you can just only hope for the best and prepare for the worst, as as our religion tells us that you have to hope for as you hoped for the best. I hoped for the best till the last second, before he passed away. And of course, before Amina passed away, you hoped that she will be back, and she will be back she will come back to you. But you have to also prepare. You know what is coming, but even though we don't want to believe it, but we know the scenario, how grave the scenario is. And it is, it changes your perspective.
it does. It changes everything
Completely.
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 Absolutely.
And there is a reason it says life changing events,
Absolutely.
because it changes your life completely. The way you think before, when they are there, when you go through such a tragedy, such a grief, your life completely changes. You see things in a much different way. I mean, and it will, for you, it has been only few months. For me, it has been few years. It has been 4 years, but my life changed that day completely.
Yes, it
And
does.
it will never be the same. It will never be the same. And, it just, it makes me immensely happy that I'm able to carry on his legacy, hold on to his memories, do the things that he wanted us to do, me and my kids. But every single moment I miss him, and, you will miss her sorely till you die. And then, but we all have that hope that we will reunite with them,
Yes,
inshallah, hereafter. And that's the hope, we are, that's the day we are waiting for,
yeah,
right?
so that's the thing. Like as you mentioned, like yes, it's the wounds are raw. It's like there's always a hole in your heart. It's gonna
Forever.
stay forever.
Yeah.
It changes your perspective. But as you said, like I will not go in a lot of detail, but during like it's hard. But uh, it's she couldn't. I mean, with your husband, I know like how you were struggling, going back and forth and doing everything, and still like it's like yesterday. It's never like, even like, no matter how many
Years change.
days, year, month, like, it really doesn't matter. It's gonna be always as fresh as
It's
tea.
raw. It's
It's raw.
always raw.
It's
You can
always
go
there.
back just like that.
Yeah.
If somebody reminds me of that day, I can, it seems to me yesterday.
Yesterday. It always seems yesterday, just because, I mean, like, you were not expecting that, and then one minute perfectly life, happy, enjoying, playing with the cats, playing with the sisters, you're just in ICU next minute, right? And from there, of course, they had to take her to uh, another hospital. They had to flew her there. I had to drive. That 45 minutes drive was not easy in the dark. And I just want to mention, just because even though I saw her in which condition she is, I had a hope. I had a hope from Allah Ta'ala. I had a hope from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, like, He brought my husband back from very close. Yes, inshallah, she will come back. So that gave me strength to drive at 9 p.m. with my younger one, driving to one hospital. They told me she's not here. Had to drive all the way to UT Southwest, like for 45 minutes, just thinking what's going on. Like, it's not easy. And but I did. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me that patience, that strength, only He can give. uh, I mean, that's only, like, when I went there, I was like, keep going back and forth. What's happening? Then I got a call from my husband's phone, like, hey, nurse wants to talk to you. Just imagine, like, I can't even, like, explain how I was feeling, like, but I still had the hope. Like, I never
You
lost that
have to,
hope.
because I
Yeah.
think, and I exactly can relate. I mean, I can see what you're saying, because I had that hopes until the last second, because his blood pressure was running very low. His kidney failed, his liver failed, all his organs were failing. But I felt that for Allah, it is nothing is impossible. Miracles can happen only if you believe in it. And it happened in 2008. As you know, he was very critical. He was critically ill. He was in life support. He came back. He was absolutely normal for several years after that. And I thought that for Allah Ta'ala, it is nothing is impossible. He can make the dead alive and dead, right? So it's absolutely possible to, till they declared or pronounced him dead. I felt that he will come back. And I am 120% sure that for your baby, you felt that she will be back. But the moment we lose them, that's the time we feel like it's nothing in our hand. It was their time. And, you know,
And as I mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best planner.
yes.
He always has the plan for you along with your own plans.
And one of the shuyuks over here, one of the religious leader, one of our spiritual community spiritual leader, he told me, he came to visit my husband, and he was making dua, a lot of prayers for him. The whole community was praying, as you know. And I was telling him, I was crying, and I was telling him that I this cannot happen. Before he passed away, he was very critical at that time. I think a couple of days before he passed away, the shuyukh came, and then he was making dua, and I told him that, Sheikh, this, my husband cannot leave me. This can't happen. And he told me that you cannot question God. You can make dua, you can hope for the best, but you cannot question. Maybe he is elevating his rank. This is his rank. By, everybody, even though he was one of the best persons I know, but everyone, we human beings make sins, right? We do. So that was Allah's way of cleansing him, and that was, he elevated his rank through that. And he told me one thing that I would like to share, and I think I shared with you before, that you don't know what is the best time for him to go to him. We are all selfish. We want them to be with us, for us. But Allah knows what is the best for them, what's the best time for them to go to him. And that's the time he he actually sets for them to go back to him. So when he told me that, I was thinking it through later. At that moment, I could not. It was my brain was all fogged up. I could not think at all. Only thing I wanted is to bring my husband back home. But after that, after I lost him, I was contemplating about the whole thing, and I felt like maybe that was the perfect time for him to go back to him, because to Allah, because he was suffering, you know. He would not want to live a life like a vegetable. He was such a vibrant young man who always wanted to give back to the society, to the community, do things for others. He would not want to sit at home. So I think Allah Ta'ala, he had a very productive life. And when he knew that, it's time for the best time for him to go back to him, he called him. So I think I would say that, it is hard for, I know these consolations, it doesn't make sense when you're going through this grief, that grieving time. When people give you those kind of consolation, it's like it means like nothing. You feel angry. Um, but it helped me later on to think it through. I was like, yeah, I'm selfish. Maybe that's the best time for him to go back to Allah. And I'm sure your daughter and my husband are in a much better place. And they will be waiting for us when we go back.
Inshallah. Yeah, so that's, you talked about the miracle, you talked about the hopes, you talked about everything. Same here, from 7 May, 8th May, and then comes the 9th May, from Wednesday until Friday. Like, of course, doctors start telling us because her blood pressure was dropping and her organs were just like, Vasim high. Yeah. So, but like, still, they were like, I still had the hope. I still had the hope. And they were told me, like, she did not receive enough oxygen in her brain just because she had a cardiac arrest. And, I was prepared. I was like, if she needs my help, my support in any way, I will be there for her, no matter what. Just if she has a life. And then doctor, they, of course, my husband was like, I have to bring the kids. I have to, my parents live with me, and he was like, I have to bring them. And I had my very best friend with me at that time with me, and her family, and they were like, you just go. We are here with her. If, like, inshallah, nothing will happen. Everything will be fine. And he went home and brought the kids. Even though I was asking him, he was like, no, doctor, they keep repeating the same thing. Even though we have a high hopes, as you mentioned, he always says, hope for the bestest, but always prepare for the worst. Never ever, like, because in 1 second, in blink of eye, everything is perfect. Next thing you know, is totally different. And while he was driving, doctor came and talked to me, and I was like, "You need to come back." Doctor is saying like, anytime, like anytime. I don't know, like. What to do. And he was like, no, inshallah, everything will be fine. I will be there with the kids so they can come and meet their sister while she's still taking her breaths. She's still alive. It would be nice. I was like, okay. And the kids, they came, and doctor, meanwhile, they were like asking me, uh, what would you like to do? Like, if her heart stopping, what's your choice? Of course, they ask you, that's what they have to too. And
Right.
while she was on life support, I'm like, please keep the same medication, keep the life support. They were like, we'll keep everything as it is, but we would like to know, if her heart starts stopping, do you want us to do CPR? You want us to restart her heart? I'm like, I have to think through pros and cons, right? I'm selfish, but at the same time, I want what's the best for her. I'm like, ask them straight, like, what are the pros and cons? What will happen if I do and I don't? They said, if we perform CPR, what will happen? Maybe it will hurt her internally. She's feeling her organs. She's bleeding through her lungs already. Maybe it will break her ribs, but we are not, uh, like,
That's the
sure.
protocol. I
That's the
think that's the
protocol.
protocol. They
Yeah, they have
say
to
they
do.
have to, but there was a wonderful nurse who was there with me at that time during the ordeal of Wasim, and she's one of my best friends now. She told me that when he was sinking, he was already very ill, very, very. He was plugged in with all the wires and lines, and he was on feeding tube and everything. Of course, he was on ventilator. So she told me the morning of he passed away that, Farkanda, if they want to do CPR, I would say let him go in dignity, because I have seen people who choose to do that, and it's a bloody mess, because they do not come back. Even if they come back, it's for a little, very short time, and it breaks their rib cages. It damages completely. They are already suffering so much. So I think that was one of the best decisions that I have ever made in my life. And I've heard from people who lost their loved ones and who chose to do CPR. They regret like anything, because they have seen the sight of the trauma their loved ones went through, even when they're going through those kind that condition. So I think when the doctor came in and said, broke the news that your heart stopped, his heart stopped, they asked me as well, do you want to do a CPR? And I said right away that I'm not going to do it CPR, because I love my husband a lot, and I don't want him to suffer anymore, because he had enough suffering. And I think that nurse, I'm so indebted to that nurse, that she advised me, because and that is also from Allah Ta'ala. Those advice, I mean, she might not have been there that day, and I might have a difficult time making the decision. So even that decision making, I was making dua all that every day. Every day I was making dua that Allah help me make the right decision. Help me, because I was signing the waivers and everything. So I was asking Allah Ta'ala, please cure him and help me make the right decision. So I think that dua got accepted, and I was able to make that right decision. That person came in my life as a blessing. So I think, as you mentioned, that your best friend was there with you when you lost your daughter. And I had three very close friends. They were there with me throughout, like from the beginning, the day Wasim got admitted till he passed away. And I told them, as you know, in ICU, other than families, they don't allow people. But they told me, we will be in the waiting area. We will be in the waiting area waiting for you. If you want to come out and cry your heart out, we are there for you. And those are the people you never forget. You never forget those people who are there with you, who are there for you at the most difficult time of your life. Also, of people at that time, who you expect to be good and not good, you know. And I have seen those faces too, and I'm sure you have seen, and I'm not going to name them, but they're close people. Who you are, who helped me, who loved me, who nurtured me, who are carrying me through with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you also know who are so deceptive, and they're close people. I would hate to say they're maybe relatives, you know. Some people, there was someone who was telling my very close friends, don't cuddle her, don't cuddle her. My husband is on deathbed. My husband is dying. I'm crying, and that person is telling my best friends, don't cuddle her. And my husband, not even buried, during the burial, he was getting buried, after the funeral, the same person talking, trying to lobby with other people about the future, what's going to happen to the future of an organization. And then later, same person goes around knowing my husband's status in the society and everything, without my permission or anything, she was trying and going around and create a GoFund.
Like,
Seriously? Like, you
it
know,
was just
it was just, I mean, I was going to tell that, and I tell that to everybody, and I thought that this is a very good opportunity for me to, I have always kept it within myself. My parents know it. Again, my parents have been my biggest support during that time and till now. They're my rocks, my sister, and some of my very good friends, including you, like my best friends who have been my rocks, and some of the community members who are like amazing. They're my friends, they're like my families. But again, I'm talking about a relative who was, and I hate to say this, but I don't care about myself that much, but I care about my husband's honor and dignity a lot. A lot. I love him. I care about his honor and dignity. And somebody who wants to shatter my husband's dignity and honor, I'm never going to forgive them. I'm sorry. He was very forgiving, but I cannot forgive who wants to. And that person was talking amongst my best friends, including you, including you, about starting a GoFund. Person, do you know my husband? Do you know my family? You didn't do a good job. You didn't do right. All right. I will hold that person accountable on the day of judgment. I'm telling it out right away. Then comes later, I found out deception. Like, who tries to deceive a widow and her children from the properties?
like seriously, like yes, we come across so many people's real faces, So
I mean, God bless them. I can only say that. But negative things apart, I did not want to bring that up, but I thought, you're my best friend. We are talking of having a very candid conversation. So it had been sitting in my heart for last 4 years, 4 years, couple of months, but I did not forget. And you
yes,
know
we
who
didn't
you are.
forget.
And I did not, and the sources that I heard those things from are very, very reliable sources.
You can close your eyes and you can
Yes,
listen and
they are
find
my
out.
confidants. They are my confidants. And so I I am going to say only God can save them, you know. But again, who are who supported me through that time, who are they're always there for me. I love them. I will always make dua for them, and I will never ever forget the people who are there for me all the time. And I'm sure, I'm sorry for deviating
No, no,
to
that's
myself
okay.
from you because the podcast is on you this time.
No, no, no,
And
it's
but
half and half. I'm here to listen as well.
no,
So
so and I was like, so you're, and I'm sure that you know
yes,
who are your true friends and
yes.
who are not during that difficult time, right? When you faced
During
that difficult time.
when I had to make the toughest decision of my life, right? When I have to, like, and as I mentioned, she told me, like, Mila, give her Shifa, complete health, but always remember, He knows what's best for her. Leave it on Him. And that's what I did. I just went to leave on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I told him, please don't, don't do CPR on her. Because heart is not the only organ she needs to survive, right? She needs all the working organs to live normal life. And no matter how selfish I wanna be, I cannot do that to her.
Right. You
I can make a
it's your
dua.
baby.
It's my baby, and
You love her. Yeah,
I
and you
loved
want
her.
the best for her.
Best for her. And there was very nice doctor, and he was like, would you like me to call someone, like, to kind of like come over, talk to you? You're going through a lot right now. And I was like, I would really appreciate it. He could see, exact time is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We not even 1 second less or more, right? They start telling me, like, 8 in the morning, even like the 7th, basically, but I was holding on to hopes. But when it started coming 9th, and they start saying a couple of hours ago, any minute. And
You still had the
I
hopes.
still had hopes. And I was looking at the phone, looking at the clock. My friend would just like, it's almost Maghrib. It's almost Maghrib. Maghrib. It's gonna be Friday. You know, as you talked about the miracle, I was hoping for that miracle. But let me tell you what happened that day. I didn't see one miracle, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed me many, many miracles because He was the only knew like what, as a mother, losing a young child, like daughter, close is your friend and everything. He planned it perfectly. He showed me so many miracles that day. Like I'm still holding on to those. Like every day, every second, I think about those moments,
I
and
mean, it helps you
it
move forward.
helps me. It helps you. So like that's why, like, I was like, I would love them to be here. They came, and then one of the scholar, Sheikh Yasser Qadi, he was on the phone. He talked to us, give a little lecture. Yasir Bijras, like I even didn't know him a lot, but like he showed up with his wife, sat down with us, made a prayer, and a lot of community people, they made a prayer. My neighbors, she came. One of my friend out of state, she heard the news. She booked the flight, the first flight she could find. And like seeing those uh, like things gives you, like, you're so blessed in so many different ways. Don't ignore those blessings, because those are blessings as your hope to move forward, to keep going through griefs, through hard time, through like whatever you're struggling with. Always find the positivity, always find your blessings, start counting those blessings. Then you will see, okay, I mean, it won't lessen the pain, it won't lessen the grief, it won't, but it gives you so much strength.
Yes.
It gives you patience, right?
To move
And
forward.
to move
Absolutely.
forward. And she booked her flight, and my neighbor, she came. She's like, I'm gonna trim her nails. We got the nail cutter. We trimmed her nails. Uh, we like I looked at the window. There was a room window. I looked up the sky, looking towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making a dua. And then, when it was a time, siblings came, of course. They they made a picture, get well soon, and they're little, and they were very, very close to her. And they were like, she was always, always very, very loving and caring towards everyone. Like, she will get along even with you, like with anyone. So she had that kind of personality. And at the same time, like, when they told me she won't make it right at 3:18 a.m. Friday morning, while she was taking her breath, while we were reciting kalma, making a duas. My friend, she trimmed her nails on Friday, like then when she took her last breath, I still remember that last breath she took. That was so peaceful, and because I was going through a hard time, I wanted to see every positivity, every blessing I could find in every moment.
Absolutely.
So, and then it reminded me of, if you passed away on Friday, like there's like no punishment in the grave. There's a hadith about that. That reminded me of that. I was like, Alhamdulillah, as she took her last breath, she was surrounded by with her loved ones, and we were holding her hands. We saw her taking her last breath, and there was nothing I could do except saying Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun, and seeing out the sky, like she's with the one who loves us the most. Like he loves you, us, every human being. That's her belief, 70 times more than a mother.
Of course.
And she was going to the better place. And just like those little gentle reminders, they just didn't pop up from here and there.
He reminds you of those, and then I remember your text, the text that you sent in the middle of the night. Uh, and I went to school in the morning, and then I told my principal that I have to go. I said that I have to leave. I cannot continue with the day. So I just left, and I met you at the Rahma funeral, the same place where my husband was bathed, and so, and it brought back so many memories. And then as you mentioned, that people who like to have those people around you at that time is such a huge blessing. My when my husband passed away, the hospital was flooding, like with people. Everybody came to see him. They were at my best friends were there, and then a couple of few of his best friends were there. My parents were there, my sister, my cousin. He drove all the way from Nashville to Dallas all night, because he felt that that my husband won't make it, because he's also a medical professional. So he's like, I want to see Wasim Bhai no matter what. And he drove Tennessee all the way. My cousin from Canada flew in. So everybody, so when Wasim passed away, it was very peaceful for him. He was surrounded by his loved ones. I was holding his hand. So as you mentioned, so when you look into those things, yes, that's it's a huge grief for us, but I think for them, you know it that their end was so beautiful, and that's all it matters. We should all make dua for our end, so that our end happens in a way, so that it's in a blessed way. A lot of people make dua, they remember us for how we treated them, and then make dua for us. So her janaza, your daughter's janaza, was on a Friday after Juma, and the burial was on a Friday, which is wonderful. It cannot be better. Something cannot be better. And my husband's janaza was so big, as you know, that people were praying on the sidewalk. You know, if they can leave the world like this, what better things we can expect, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like when we took her to the Rehma, funeral home, and while we were bathing and we were coming out, there was little pouring rain, and then I looked at that. That was a sign of blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Then we went for the Jummah prayers. We were deciding what time. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala had a burial time for her during Asr time. So instead of doing the first Jummah, we did the second Jummah, and from there she loved clouds, and I could see she knew all the names of the clouds. This she used to tell me. I even don't remember, but she used to tell me, but I could see up in the sky that she like literally every kind of
All the
cloud was
signs
like
of
essentially the
blessing
blessings.
were
Yeah.
shown. Yeah.
And
So
I was hoping for one miracle, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed me like so many miracles in one day. Like I can hold on to those, and I can that's what my husband, he was like, you should be so jealous from her ending, the way mashallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like she ended. I'm jealous. Like who else doesn't want that kind of ending?
right.
Surrounded by your loved ones, surrounded by like with those all those signs, having that very gentle, beautiful smile right after she passed away. So all those things, that's what I'm like, even in life, I will always like say like negativity is there. Always look for positivity. Always like look for those signs. Look for those things. Those are there. You just have to put in other lens. And after she passed away, like I never saw the world in the same lens.
Never. You
It
can. It's changed. It has changed.
yeah, not
But
only mine, my whole family's perspective.
absolutely, I think it changes. It changes your life. My life, my children's life changed. But you know what we can do best in that circumstance, uh, to in a positive way, as you mentioned, that's the most important thing. And Sumara, we're already almost coming to the end of the podcast, and we talked about hope, inspiration, motivation, life's journey, destiny, grief, and then you navigated through all those so beautifully, and I'm sure your daughter is in a better place. Inshallah, she will wait for you at the door of Jannah to welcome you, inshallah. But I hope and pray that you lead your life with so much positivity, energy, and and keep making people smile like how you do to me. You always bring a smile to me. And then so Mera, if you have to give one message to everybody out there, especially to the women who are going through a dark phase in their life or going through life changing events, what is one message that you should give to keep them going?
So the one message I would like to give is like always count your blessings and learn about your own self, your strengths and weaknesses, and you are born that empowerment in you already. All you just have to look within yourself, find it, work on it, and no matter how dark the journey or the time frame is, always have a faith in yourself, have a faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's planning, and just keep moving forward because if you sit, death is not like when you stop taking breath. Death is when you start moving. So I will say, live, keep moving, keep going, bring your empowerment out, bring a change, and live your life at the fullest. And I would love to thank everyone, all the friends and family members, been there for me. And please do make a dua for Amina. Even like take a minute, make a dua for her. That will mean a word to me. And thank you so much. It was very nice.
Well, thank you so much, Sumera, for coming and talking to us. It was wonderful having you and hearing your wonderful inspirational journey. And I hope and pray that you do great things in future for yourself and for your daughter who is in heaven right now. Take care.